Welcome in, y'all. We are going to be predicting the entire NFL playoff bracket and our Super Bowl champion for this year. It's hard to believe the playoffs are already here. Feels like that Cowboys-Eagles kickoff game was just yesterday. But we got some great football still ahead of us, a very chaotic playoff field. And it's going to be a lot of fun this year. I mean, we don't know who's going to take it all. So I made my wild card round picks, straight up and against the spread yesterday. I do it on Tuesday every week. So I'm going to pretty much gloss over my wild card round picks. If you want in depth on those, you can check out that video. We'll start top left. I went Texans over Steelers. I think that waffled back and forth on that one though. Took Jags over Bills. Should be a good game. I like Jacksonville at home. Like the Patriots at home against the Chargers. Over on the NFC, like the Rams to go on the road as big favorites in Carolina, get the job done. Eagles, they beat the Niners, but that should be a fun game, an NFC Championship rematch from a few years ago. And then I have the Packers going into Chicago and pulling out a win. So that's the wild card round. And we're going to spend some time now going on all the other games. So top left, you have Denver at Houston. Houston at Denver. Of course, Denver has the 1 seed there. And we saw this matchup earlier in the year. Davis Mills at quarterback for the Houston Texans for that one. It was a low-scoring affair. Denver just came out with the win in it. Funny enough, I was thinking that because I saw it before the wild card round, there should be some hypothetical lines out for the divisional round. So I could see in these games kind of what the line would be, because I'm always interested, what they think. And, sure enough, they do in fact exist. So this game, if it were to happen, I believe the Denver Broncos would be favored by 1.5 points. That is a very narrow spread for a number 1 seed, only being favored by 1.5 points. Kind of crazy, honestly. But I don't blame them. I mean, Denver, strong defense. You got Sean Payton. Bo Nix has been fine. But this team, I don't know, man. They've struggled a lot this year. The Texans are hot. Texans have the best defense in the league, in my opinion. Denver knows how to get after a quarterback, though. Don't get me wrong. I think this would be another low-scoring affair, another slugfest here. But really, I'm going to take the Texans to come out of this one with the win. I think they have what it takes to get this thing done on the road. I mean, defense travels. I said this in my last video about Houston. Playing on the road is always tough in the NFL, especially in the playoffs, but defense travels. It plays ball on the road, not as affected by that, the crowd. I think the defense gets the job done against Denver, who also has an incredible defense. Then we'll move down to the bottom of the AFC there. You have the Patriots and Jaguars. Man, this is going to be a really good one. I mean, these are two teams that I don't think most people expected to be in the playoffs this year. And here they are, sitting here. Both have a very, very real chance to win the AFC. And if the Texans do beat the Broncos, the winner of this game would host the AFC Championship game. The hypothetical line for this one, as of right now, if they were to play, it is 2.5 in favor of the Patriots, which that seems about right. Patriots are home. So that basically says on even ground, this game's about a pick'em. This was a tough one for me. These are two very good teams, both very young teams. Obviously New England's, I think, a bit fresher, right? You got May only in the second year. Trevor Lawrence, he's been around longer than you think he has been at this point. I mean, it's been a while now. He's been in the playoffs before. He got that playoff comeback win against the Chargers a few years back. That was a fun one. The Jaguars are playing really good football. They're really hot right now. They have an insane run defense. And I really think they could do it. But my gut feeling here, something about it is telling me Patriots at home. I think Drake May is playing incredibly well. And I think Cohen has done an amazing job with this Jacksonville team. But I think Vrabel, he's been here before. He's been in the postseason. He knows how to coach in these moments. We've seen him take Titans teams that they were fine. They were good teams, but he constantly had those teams in phenomenal spots, better spots than they probably should have been for the talent they had. Again, they weren't bad teams, but they definitely overachieved in my opinion. I think he can do the same here. I think the Patriots move on to the AFC Championship game to host the Houston Texans. So interesting AFC title game matchup over there. But we're going to jump on over to the NFC side. We'll focus on that real quick. You have Green Bay visiting Seattle. And I think this would be a really, really good game. The hypothetical line on this one is about 4.5 points in favor of Seattle at home. I don't know. This one I actually thought could kind of go either way. I mean, I like Green Bay in the postseason. I really do. Seattle, the defense is played incredibly well. I don't know how much I trust Darnold in big moments. This Green Bay team, they've been here a few years in a row. They have the experience. But at the end of the day, watching Seattle, do with the Niners what they did just, a few days ago now, I think it gives me confidence in them, at least to an extent, that they can take care of business in this first home game against Green Bay. Because Green Bay's banged up, right? They're getting guys back, but, like Parsons, like they've lost some guys for the year or won't be in this game. And that's a big deal. It might be different if that wasn't the case, but I think Seattle does come out on top in this one. But I think it would be a really, really good game. I don't think it would be any semblance of a blowout, right? I think that would be a very entertaining divisional game. And speaking of entertaining divisional games, I think all 4 of these games, by the way, the divisional games would be great games. I don't see any of these being blowouts, right? But let's talk about this one at the bottom. Eagles, Rams. These teams are quite familiar with each other. Played twice last year, once in the playoffs, that snow game. Then this year they played earlier in the season, the blocked field goal. And they get to go at it again. And the Eagles have been tricky for me because on paper they're an amazing team, right? Their roster is one of the best. Their defense is actually playing really well still. But the big thing for me is their offense is still a little lackluster. Even in some of these wins, like they went and beat the Bills, right, in Buffalo, but I mean they couldn't move the ball, they couldn't score. It was really their defense that had to step up. And with this game, I think back to the game earlier this season that Philadelphia won, but it's a game they were down, 20 points, and they had to make a ferocious comeback, and they needed 2 blocked fourth quarter field goals to win. That's stuff that you don't necessarily anticipate happening again. I think the Rams are ready for this one. I think they're the slightly better team here. I'm going to take the Rams on the road against Philadelphia, and again, I've been saying it for the other games. If you're interested, the hypothetical line on this one is Rams would be favored by 1.5 in Philadelphia on this one. So that's certainly interesting. But I will take the Rams to the NFC Championship. I think I said it in my last video. It feels like all roads are leading to a Rams-Seahawks NFC Championship. But I do think Seattle, after the Rams and Seahawks, I think Philadelphia is the biggest threat in the NFC. And I think some people are overlooking them. I'm not seeing them win the NFC in many predictions. I think most predictions I'm seeing Seattle. I think Philly could sneak up, they could also lose in the first round, right? They're playing a very good 49ers team. But don't sleep on Philly. I say as I pick against them. So then we'll move on to the AFC Championship game, and the hypothetical line out for this is New England by 1.5. So interesting to me, that tells me on a neutral field, the Texans would actually be favored in this one because this one's in New England. So that's certainly interesting. That Texans defense, they say defense wins championships. And I think there's something to that. I think defense travels well. We've seen defense carry some teams to titles, Peyton Manning and just 10 years ago, leading to the same Super Bowl field they're playing on this year, funny enough, in Santa Clara. And while I do think that is true, I think you look back at a lot of Super Bowl champions, and I don't know if that's always the case, because I feel like at the end of the day, you have to have, a clutch quarterback, a clutch offense that's going to get the job done when it's tight, when they need to do it. And the Texans offense, Patriots offense, I like what Drake May is doing right now. I like Vrabel. I really like him as the coach. I think at home in this one, I think the Texans, their run ends here. I think the Patriots move on and return to the Super Bowl, which is crazy. I mean, at the beginning of this year, I almost considered putting Patriots in the playoffs. I can't actually remember if I did or not. but never would I have thought they could go to the Super Bowl when this year started. So, I mean, I don't think many people would have thought that, to be honest. But very exciting to see teams you don't expect to be there. Patriots are certainly one of those. I think they can. I think they can get there. It's going to be weird seeing them back in it if they make it there without Brady. Definitely a change, but it's a new era now. But let's move on over to the NFC now, right? Rams Seahawks. I've talked about this one. Like I said, all roads have kind of felt like they're leading to it. So what would the line be for this game? The hypothetical line I'm seeing here basically shows pick'em, like dead even. Which again, like I was saying with the other one, that refers to the fact that if it was on an even playing field, again, not in Seattle, the Rams would be favored in this one, but it's not. It is in Seattle, the 12th man. You're going to have to go through that 12th man to get to the Super Bowl. That's the big deal, with getting that 1 seed with Seattle. So this is an interesting one because they've played each other twice this year. So we have a lot of tape on it. And I think a couple of things you can't overlook is in 2 games, Rams intercepted Sam Darnold 6 times. And you think back last year in the playoffs and the Rams played Darnold, they got all after him. Coincidences, stuff stacking up, maybe, but something seems like they know how to work a defense against Sam Darnold. And while Rams won the first game, and then while Seattle had, a phenomenal comeback in that second game, you're not always going to get 3 2-point conversions and a punt return to come back in those games. I mean, the Rams were dominating Thursday night. I definitely don't think they would dominate this game if played again. I think this would be one that comes down to the last possession. But I like the Rams here on the road. I think they're going to get the job done. They obviously have the harder path, right? I mean, in Carolina, that's a nice draw for round 1. But winning 2 in a row in Philly and in Seattle, that's really tough. We'll see if they can even make it past Philly. But I'm just not a huge Seattle believer. I haven't been all year, so, maybe this one gets me again, because I'll be honest, maybe I don't want to dig myself a hole here, but I think I would have taken whoever wins the Rams-Eagles game probably to go to the Super Bowl. So yeah, my Super Bowl here is Patriots, Rams in Santa Clara. And this one, man, I don't know if the NFL wants numbers. This one, maybe not for like viewership total as far as like team draw, but game style, this one would be a blast. This is one that could get up there and scoring. This one could be a lot of fun, a lot of back and forth touchdowns. I think this one, you could see you can theoretically see both teams hit 30. Don't want to jump on it too much. Last time we saw these 2 teams play in the Super Bowl with amazing offenses, the game ended 13-3. So you never know. But it does feel like with these 2 MVP candidate quarterbacks going at it, there'd be a lot of points on the board. I think it'd be one heck of a game. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And at the end of the day, in this one, I'm going to go with the experience here. I'm going to take the Rams over the Patriots. I think the team is more well-rounded, and I think McVay can easily match Vrabel in coaching. But I think it would be an insanely fun game. And, I think the future is incredibly bright for New England. I think it's insane how bright the future is for so many teams in the playoffs this year. It is so exciting to see because it feels like stuff was getting a little stale, right? The Chiefs going over and over and over. You have to respect the dominance, just like when the Patriots did it. You have to respect it, but it doesn't mean you have to like it. It gets stale. It feels like you forget that it's even possible other teams can go. So I think this year would be a lot of fun. I think, imagine the Jaguars go into New England, win that game. Imagine like a Texans-Jaguars AFC title game. That'd be insane. I bet the NFL would hate that for viewerships, but, I'd be here for it. That'd be a lot of fun. So anyways, that's my prediction for the playoff bracket for the Super Bowl. Let me know what y'all have. I'm sure you disagree. Everyone has their own picks. I'm seeing a lot of Seattle. I'm seeing a decent amount of Rams. I'm seeing a lot of Bills. And you know what? Funny enough, I thought I was going to be alone in having them go a little far, but I'm seeing a decent amount of Texans in the Super Bowl. I don't know if I've seen many people pick them to win it, but I've actually seen a lot of people having them there. So that's interesting. All about that defense. So like I said, should be a lot of fun. Can't wait for this thing to kick off on Saturday. It's going to be a fun weekend and a fun playoffs.